So if you have the right person in the wrong seat, here are your options. Number one, you train them. If they can learn, get them the technical and leadership training they need to execute their role. Number two, you could demote them. Now, this is a very difficult thing to do. In fact, I tell you, I have a whole episode on demotion and how to handle that, and I'll link to it in the show notes so that you've got that. It's a very good episode to listen to. But often the kindest and most effective thing you can do is to demote someone. So let's say you've promoted that person to the COO role. They have a bunch of project managers and project executives reporting to them, but they're not doing what they really love, which is running work. You can do them a great favor by demoting them back into that role. Now, that's a tricky situation, and having promoted them, you may actually lose them. You know that that happens at times. But a demotion can be the kindest thing for the person and the most effective thing for the organization. The other thing you can do, if you have the right person in the wrong seat and they're in that seat where perhaps they're getting a little bored, is you could promote them. Now, this can be tricky. You have someone who's earned and wants to move up. They've earned the right to move up. They want to move up, but there may be a limited number of seats in your organization. You see this in sports teams often where you have, let's say, a backlog at third base where you have, the starting candidate and then a couple of other folks who are right there in terms of being able to fill that role as well. Now, in sports, sometimes those folks get traded away. In business, we don't really do that, do we? And so you have to think seriously about your roster and ask, is there another position for this person? So how can you handle the situation where you could promote someone, but you have a limited number of seats? Well, there's multiple answers to this question. You could choose to pursue new project types or expand geographically and put that person in charge of an initiative. Or another approach that works really well is the tours of duty approach. So for example, you can take a talented project manager, and if you have an available hole in estimating, you could move them into estimating and give them an opportunity to spend a year or two in the estimating side of your business, learning about what it takes to put together a good estimate, learning how to win work, and having learned that skill for a couple of years, they could come back into project management or perhaps into project and a project executive role. Now, this requires a long-term vision on your part, and it also requires you to communicate clearly to the folks in your organization what you're doing in terms of those career development paths. But I know this tour of duty mentality works really well for a lot of construction companies. A lot of folks do it when people are younger in the business. You get project engineers and they spend a year reporting to a superintendent, a year reporting to a project manager, and maybe a year over in estimating. And they rotate through even in project management doing different types of work, whether it be public or private work. And that works very, very effectively at a lower level. As you get higher up the chain, it can be a little trickier to do that as they get more mature in their career. But this can be a terrific way to build up those sort of players who have multiple skills by giving them opportunities to get into different parts of your business.